The protagonist of this story, named Aoi Sakurai, has been haunted by numerous stalkers with an insatiable desire to consume him. Among these eerie figures, one stands out as the most formidable, Miyako. Her intense longing for Aoi fuels her relentless pursuit, yet her fierce love for him grants her a measure of control over her consuming hunger. To fend off other non-human assailants seeking to devour him, Aoi must reluctantly endure Miyako's unwavering obsession by his side. Everyone has a past they'd rather keep hidden, and for Aoi Sakurai, that past is a nightmare. Many female corpses surround him while a terrifyingly beautiful woman holds him down, claiming ownership over him. She tells him that she's already taken care of all the bad people after him, because he belongs to only her. The local authorities are concerned as they have never heard of such a thing. More than 10 separate cases, and each one of them involves different stalkers. They advised his parents that a change of environment would be best in their son's favor. Aoi's life is a tangled mess. Even after relocating, he can't shake off this troubling history. As he gets ready to depart from his latest school, he hears whispers among classmates expressing discomfort, wondering if he doesn't talk at all. He was the last in class introduction, and he has not even said anything since last week. They gossip that he is like a ghost, an eerie presence, as if he's already departed from the living world. Aoi feels irritated by their judgment. What could they possibly know? Even if he were to speak up, he knows his words wouldn't be given any credence, as no one would believe him. Their discussion about him is brief as they transition to more significant news. They mention a smoking hot woman moving in nearby, noting her bandaged arms as she might have some kind of injury. Suddenly, this detail strikes Aoi with horror, sending a chill down his spine as he stares at her arms in shock. With just those 2 words, Aoi's mind returned in time. The hauntingly mesmerizing woman, adorned in blood, drew closer, asserting that the police were of no use. The pursuers trailing Aoi were not human. Yet, she nonchalantly dropped a gruesome, spiky-toothed woman's head at his feet, assuring Aoi that it didn't matter what these creatures were, Miyako would kill them all for him. A sudden touch on his shoulder jolted him from his thoughts, causing him to scream and leap from his chair. Relief flooded him as he realized it was his classmate, Ueda, not the enigmatic, blood-smeared woman from his past. To make amends for startling Aoi, she treated him to ice cream at a nearby convenience store. Even if he tells her not to associate with him, she can't help but be concerned. They're friends, after all, and as his friend, she felt obliged to inform him about a circulating rumor. That woman the boys were talking about earlier? The other classes are talking about her too. It's probably because she's a beautiful person. But she's been talking to everyone she meets, saying she's looking for a male student who moved to town recently. Presumably, the person can only be him. Even after fleeing town, it appeared Miyako was still seeking him out. Aoi struggled to steady his trembling hand, holding back tears while Ueda beamed at him, eager to assist him. Reluctantly, he follows Ueda, but the destination she led him to is far from what he expected. How would an abandoned school building assist him in evading his stalker? Despite his apprehension, Aoi followed his classmate inside. Ueda tells him that she finds solace in quiet places like this. Aoi hesitates. She ponders that it is perfect for her plans to venture deeper. Whatever schemes she had in mind, he felt they should turn back. He couldn't endanger Ueda. Didn't he explain what Miyako was? Turning to him with a creepy smile, she assured him that she already knew. That is precisely why she had brought him here. However, she is worried that Miyako will come in the way as she has been watching over him longer than she has, but she does not get to manage the order of these things. Ueda then, unsettlingly, removes her top, urging him to look at her and unify with her. Rather than excitement, he is consumed by terror at Ueda's proposition. He attempts to flee, but she holds him in place, asking if he's more excited with this form. Before his eyes, his classmate transformed into an okikamushi, a caterpillar-like creature with a woman's torso. That's when Miyako's words echo in his mind, "They're not human. This is just a bad dream, right?" Otherwise, Aoi knows he's going to die. Ueda takes his face in both of her hands and scratches his cheek with her fingernail. Before his tears fall, the lady with bandaged arms attacks the okikamushi with a shovel, calling her a damn pest. The creature, once Ueda, cradled her wounded face, attempting to escape Miyako's pursuit. This insolent pest scarred her Aoi, so she deserves a painful death. As Miyako leaves to hunt down the insect, he unconsciously calls her name. But her terrifying gaze only makes him freeze on the spot. He retreats to the farthest corner of the classroom, imploring Miyako to stay away. Bewildered, she questions his retreat, expressing immense joy at their reunion. Gripping Aoi's shoulder, she declares him as hers, believing that she has to care for him. It doesn't matter if Miyako needs to take care of these monsters. She remarks, does he have any idea how long these stalkers have been following him? She explains to him people usually call them monsters, specters, and even urban legends. But whatever they're called makes no difference to Miyako. She'll eliminate anyone that becomes an obstacle to her love. Simply put, she can protect Aoi. Before finishing the Okikamushi, Miyako presents Aoi with a choice between that woman or herself. Whose survival did he prefer? He takes a moment before responding. Is he being threatened? If he wants to live, he has no choice but to accept this lunatic. And of course, he doesn't want to die in a situation like this. Please save me. That's Aoi's answer. Before he can scream to the world that he doesn't want to die, Miyako places her lips on his, savoring his taste. She tells him not to make such a tempting face as they part. Is this what they mean by being aroused? Aoi appears conflicted between these two emotions. But let's stop teasing. Miyako's primary purpose is to safeguard him, that's a certainty. What exactly is she, though? Unwrapping her bandages, she questions Aoi. Have you heard of the escorting wolf? Okuriokami, that's precisely who she is. In an instant, the battle comes to an end. The gruesome remains of the centipede creature cling to the wall like a monstrous piece of art. Miyako kneels in front of the intimidated Aoi, questioning if he truly accepts her presence. Is he genuinely okay with this arrangement? Well, it's preferable to facing death. But now, Aoi finds himself compelled to tolerate her, this Okuriokami who ardently confesses her love and desire to be by his side. Giggling with delight, Miyako tightly hugs him, unable to contain her happiness. Also, if she lets go, Aoi will be in danger again. Can't he perceive them? Did he truly believe only one monster had set their eyes on him? Aoi's eyes well up with tears as he tries to convince himself that this is merely a dreadful dream. Miyako's pledge to remain constantly by his side offers him no comfort whatsoever. While everything might be a nightmare for Aoi, to this Miyako, it feels like she's experiencing the most delightful dream. The subsequent scene transitions to Aoi experiencing the recurring dream once more. Startled, he shouts to rouse himself, only to discover Miyako perched above him, offering a cheerful good morning. Startled, he retreats towards the door and questions her presence, to which she replies, I mentioned I'd be by your side. Blushing, she adds that she borrowed his clothes. He finds himself wondering, how did she get in? She casually inquires, your mom's at work? I will have to give her greetings later. He felt puzzled, thinking, how long has she been here? Meanwhile, she stands in the kitchen and mentions that she made breakfast for him. Aoi felt the urgency to escape, while she warns him against it. Suddenly, mysterious fingers appeared at the door, grabbing him from behind, accompanied by a voice threatening to take him away. An anxious Aoi informs Miyako that this has been happening for a while. She assures him not to worry, and with a dark aura, she warns the mysterious figure that she'll take drastic action if the harassment persists. The enigmatic figure vanished upon hearing her threat, leaving Aoi in a state of shock akin to a nightmare. Attempting to soothe him, Miyako suggests having breakfast first. Aoi, still unsettled by the incident, felt as if a bad dream had come true. Miyako, sitting at the dining chair, asks him if he dislikes rolled eggs, startling him with her knowledge of his favorite breakfast. She assures him she will also prepare a bento for him and inquires if he desires anything else to eat. As he ate, Aoi wondered if she had added anything unusual to the food. Miyako cheerfully expressed her willingness to make anything he liked. Curious about the meal's taste, she eagerly awaited his response, feeling glad when she saw his satisfied expression. Concerned for her well-being, Aoi asked if she wasn't eating, to which she replied that she wasn't particularly hungry. Aoi's grim tone emerges as he questions her. Because you an escorting wolf? Is that why you are not that hungry? She tells him she is not entirely sure about herself. Aoi warns her, if she wants his trust, she has to tell him everything. What are these monsters, and why do they want to eat him? She responds she has already mentioned that people consider them to be spirits or urban legends. But all they are aware of is that they are merely remnants of what they once were. She assumed he might have some knowledge about their origins. But the vague nature of her answer only frustrates him. Standing and turning away from Miyako, Aoi says he knows nothing. Miyako, with a hollow look in her eyes, creepily latches onto him, asking if he's hiding something. That triggers a long-buried memory in Aoi's mind. It's him, as a child, consuming something oddly colored from what seems to be shinsen, food offerings given up to Shinto shrines. A burly man chastises him for being a no-good thief. When he comes to reality, Aoi grabs a pair of chopsticks and holds down Miyako, yelling for her to stop prying on him. He perches her, threatening to end her if she keeps poking around his business. Despite the clear threat, she smiles at him. It's fine if he wants to eliminate her, as long as it makes him feel better. Miyako guides his hand, placing the chopstick right above her chest. If he does end her, she hopes her death will be remembered as trauma he carries with him for the rest of his life. Yes, if it's for him, she will do anything. Despite the absurdity of her words, Aoi's anger dissipates, and he lifts the chopsticks from her chest. Miyako hugs him tightly. She would never scorn or reject him, even if he has an unspeakable past. She could never come to hate Aoi. She pleads to always be by his side. After escorting him to school, Aoi asks Miyako not to follow him anymore. She agrees to wait there until school ends. He warns her not to test him again and firmly reiterates that she's still a stalker to him, asking her not to misunderstand. Miyako cheerfully acknowledges his words but assures him that if something happens, she'll come to protect him, seeking confirmation to stay by his side. He coldly informs her that he has to leave. She wishes him a safe trip, but as he walks away, she struggles to control herself. She pants as drool is dripping generously from her mouth. It's so tempting. Even when Aoi gets angry, she just wants to eat him up. As Miyako fights her urges, she notices something from the school that snaps her out of her obsessive thoughts, an unfamiliar scent, possibly from one of them. It's getting noisy around her. Meanwhile, in one of the classrooms, a horned woman in tattered attire mutters to herself, August 9th looms closer once again. Desperate to find the monster she sensed, she clutches the metal net encircling the school grounds, peeking inside. She wonders if one of them is there, but she's uncertain of her exact location. Inside the classroom, Aoi has to endure classmates discussing Ueda's disappearance. They speculate about her absence, some suggesting that she might be absent today, while others claim she's transferring schools. The group is surprised by her sudden departure, noting that her entire family has also left, indicating she's truly gone. Gossip circulates among the classmates, speculating if Aoi knew about Ueda leaving, given his closeness to her the day before. Despite their curiosity, none dared to approach him, finding him somewhat eerie and feeling a sense of fear. Afterward, they shift the conversation to where they should have lunch, and propose heading out to buy some food first, anticipating potential crowds. After they depart, Aoi muses to himself, noting how much they talk despite their lack of understanding. Even if they were aware, he doubts they would believe any of it. He ponders what Miyako would do if she were there and hears their conversation. She'd probably. He envisions a disturbing scenario, an image of her smiling, and sitting on the teacher's desk surrounded by his classmates' corpses, flashes in Aoi's mind. She'd say, "Praise me, Aoi." Yeah, something like that would happen. He jolts back to reality, scolding himself for the foolish idea. Suddenly, two girls nearby chatter, wondering about the commotion near the school gate. He quickly rises from his seat, eager to understand the situation, and heads towards the commotion. Onlookers at the scene discuss the figure's identity, speculating if she's the rumored person. Their perceptions shift as they realize she's surprisingly different from their initial assumptions, far from what they expected. As he reaches the gate, Aoi is taken aback by Miyako's presence, and wonders why she's there. Students mock him for his apparent taste in companions. Calling out to her, he questions her intentions. Miyako explains she's searching for something, leaving Aoi pondering her motives. He contemplates avoiding involvement but feels conflicted about leaving her. Meanwhile, students gossip about Miyako, referring to her as Sakurai's stalker, linking her to Ueda's departure. A series of questions arise about Sakurai's silence and a past incident at another school, prompting curious speculation among the students. Aoi considers the spreading rumors about Miyako and contemplates if confirming them might improve how others see him. He ponders, stating that he's in the same situation as Ueda, feeling unable to speak up due to fear. He believes it should be a valid reason and expresses frustration at the situation. Despite his dislike for the situation, he decides that it might not hurt to say something after all. But before he can utter a word, Miyako confidently admits that she is responsible for Ueda's disappearance. As students gather, they discuss Ueda's demise. They express disdain for Miyako and suggest she might have done worse. Angered, they start throwing cans and bottles at her. Miyako reflects on the situation, feeling that they are going too far. Aoi, while acknowledging Miyako's odd behavior, anticipates that her acknowledgement won't reflect well on her. Students confront Miyako, demanding she should get out, expressing hatred and cursing her. She remains resolute, stating that she's willing to sacrifice everything, her body and soul, to be with the one she loves. She has no regrets about it. The students, repulsed by her words, respond with disdain and continue throwing bottles and rocks at her. Aoi, taken aback by the situation, instinctively rushes toward Miyako and manages to shield her from one of the incoming rocks. The onlookers are confused by Aoi's sudden action and ask him why he would do that. Who knows, but it's not like Aoi needs to explain himself to these dumbasses. They don't get a chance to punish him for that comment as Miyako hugs him from behind. Instantly, they vanish into thin air. She has transported them just outside the school. She asks him if he is bleeding, but without looking at her, he asks what she came here for. The creature she chased off in the morning blended in with the other students. But not to worry, she already memorized her face. And she will deal with it. Aoi still has his head down. After that mess, there's no way he can go to school again. However, Miyako sees this as an absolute win. They can be together even more. Leaning on his shoulder, she mentions how cool Aoi is. But tears pool in his eyes. How could she say those things, being ready to toss everything aside for him? Even his mom has never said that to him. So why? Seeing her beloved being so vulnerable and open to her makes her drool. He knows how to rile her up. While an ominous figure is observing them from a distance. In the days following the incident, Miyako knocks on the balcony door, asking Aoi to let her in. However, he doesn't open the door. He informs her about an impending house visit from his homeroom teacher due to his absence from school. He prefers not to have her around during this visit, wanting to avoid any additional trouble. He hasn't even informed his mom about the situation, and having her there would complicate matters further. He requests that she stay outside for now as it won't take long. Concerned, Miyako questions the risk to Aoi if she's the one considered a monster. He is convinced she'll come to protect him. Looking anxious, he wonders if he's asking for too much, but believes it should still be acceptable to her. She gladly agrees, promising to protect him no matter what. With a warm smile, she insists that he should only call her from now on, but suddenly, her expression shifts to one that seems to say, "I want to eat you up." She expresses that there'll be a time when he won't need to open the door for her anymore. She insists that he should call for her, and she wonders how he'd do it. She notes that his teacher isn't there yet. As she enters her obsessive trance, she unconsciously opens the glass door, inching closer and closer to her beloved. She's mere centimeters away from his face when Aoi's homeroom teacher arrives. She screams for the woman to let go of her student. She is here to help him, and she asks Aoi to hold on. But it's all just a misunderstanding. Apologizing in embarrassment, she introduces herself as Ushimi, Aoi-kun's homeroom teacher. She admits that she loses track of things when she's upset and doesn't realize their relationship. She asks if it's okay for his guardian to be present during this visit. Aoi reflects that Miyako's lack of reaction might indicate his teacher isn't a monster, which is somewhat relieving. But now he's unsure how to communicate with non-threatening individuals. Ushimi offers him cookies she baked herself and admits it's her first time making them, feeling a bit nervous but eager to get along with Aoi. Despite his reservations, Aoi decides to take one, admitting he's still apprehensive about conversing with people. But if it's her, Miyako's serious tone strikes Aoi. "What a different expression. You didn't look like this for me, Aoi-kun," she says. Ushimi, smiling, offers him to have the cookies later and keep the container. He agrees to try them later. Ushimi then inquires about his return to school, mentioning that everyone is waiting for him and that she spoke to the class about his situation. She believes they'll understand once he clears up the misconception about Miyako. She also mentions that the students are genuinely good kids. Aoi surprisingly retorts, "Nonsense. Those guys spread rumors and went so far as to throw rocks at another person. And she is telling him that they reformed just because she told them off? No way." Ushimi asks with a determined look, "Aoi, don't you believe me? I wouldn't lie to you. If you're starting over, you're going to have to change." Shocked, Aoi thinks, her voice is echoing inside his head. Sakurai-kun is a good boy. He feels like he should listen to what she tells him. She leaned in close, her gaze tempting, while resting on the table, and said, "My Aoi-kun is a good boy, isn't that right?" He felt frightened. As she drew nearer, she added, "You belong to me, right?" She grasped his hand, and in a moment of panic, he cried out for Miyako's help. She hurried over, asking what had happened. Ushimi, altering her demeanor, steps away from Aoi. She apologized, saying that she just lost herself for a second there. Let's leave it at that for today. In the silence of the night, Aoi sits on his bed and calls out, "Miyako, are you here?" But there's no response. Can he truly put his trust in her? Meanwhile, in an undisclosed location, Miyako surveys the dismembered body of the monster she encountered earlier that day. Turning to face her prey, she demands, "You didn't have their scent this afternoon. Before I end you, reveal what you truly are." Ushimi, with a serene smile, tastes the blood of the vanquished monster on her tongue. Miyako confronts the teacher, demanding answers about her involvement in controlling and manipulating the students. Ushimi finally speaks, feigning innocence, wondering if it was her. She points out the presence of many monsters within the school. Miyako remains unconvinced, stating that apart from her and the dismembered monster, there are no others in the school. The teacher smirks, realizing Miyako's lack of knowledge. Normally, directly noticing such anomalies unilaterally would be impossible. While there are distinctions, these beings generally stem from similar phenomena. Miyako's ability to detect them is limited to those who lack self-control or those who don't intend to be noticed. So, the teacher utilized it intentionally today, whereas Miyako seems to lack that particular skill. Whatever. Miyako does not care, she will just do what she's been doing, get rid of everyone who comes in her way. This straightforward approach irritates Ushimi, who believes Miyako isn't the right fit for Aoi. According to her, he needs someone like her who can educate and look after him meticulously. She plans to demonstrate this to Miyako while enjoying time with Aoi and teaching him a wide array of things. She eagerly anticipates transforming him into something truly remarkable. She expresses her excitement, unable to fathom how delightful it will be. As she licks blood from her palm, she eagerly anticipates shaping Aoi's mind and body. She intends to be so essential to him that he'll rely on her for everything. Merely contemplating this possibility causes her to feel on the verge of losing herself. Miyako approaches the teacher, taken aback by her own words. She speaks as though she's human, discussing suitability and training, but Miyako couldn't care less about any of it. Her love for Aoi is all that matters to her. She bluntly repeats her disregard for the teacher's words. Ushimi, furious, believes Miyako is utterly oblivious. Doesn't she grasp what Ushimi truly is? For ages, people held her words and presence in reverence. Now, she intends to impart an ominous prediction upon Miyako, an omen of death, because she reveals herself to be a Ushiona. Yet, Miyako remains indifferent to her nature and intentions. As Miyako charges toward the fully transformed Ushimi, Miyako's sole wish is demise of her opponent. Just as their clash is imminent, the dismembered monster seizes Miyako from behind, affirming, "I warned you, I am an omen of death." This distraction provides Ushimi with an opening to strike, piercing through Miyako's abdomen. With a taunting remark about Miyako's assumption of defeating her, in her current form of a girl-like body, she asserts that Miyako's fate was sealed. Did she truly believe that a Ushiona would engage directly with an escorting wolf like her? She had promised the other monster salvation in exchange for cooperation, only to terminate her after fulfilling her purpose. It's a survival tactic for a rational creature. Yet, Miyako responds only with laughter. Ushimi continues her image as a teacher, persistently lecturing Miyako until the very end. Yet, Miyako can't fully align herself with the assertions. Rationality? When it involves the person you love, reason takes a backseat. Emotions surge within Miyako at the mere thought of her affection for Aoi. Now, she must unleash it. Transforming into her full power, she reaches a stage where even Ushiuna stands no chance. She is simply outmatched by this beastly form. Despite her vow to have another opportunity, Miyako is resolute. There won't be a next time. This is where she'll put an end to Ushimi, right here, right now. She believes in the inevitability of their future encounters in this world, certain that they'll be reborn once more. True to her nature as a Ushiona, she imparts a final omen. There's another, poison, lurking within this city, one that won't be etched into history as a disaster. She emphasizes that Miyako bears responsibility for everything, feeling weary of lecturing her. Or perhaps she should say, for what once was Miyako. After delivering her enigmatic message, the Okyuriokami raises her bandaged arm, prepared to put an end to her. Next to a rarely used bridge, a young Aoi stands hand in hand with a tall, graceful woman. She recently discovered he'd depart the town the next day. What a pity, she was nearly at her goal. The boy couldn't grasp the depth of her words. At that moment, she hugs him, intending to communicate the unwavering commitment of her pledge. Regardless of the years that may pass, she vows to find him. Without fail. And then, Aoi awakens with tears streaming down his cheeks. That dream had stirred a memory from ages ago. He ponders that he managed to sleep so well since everything was too quiet. Glancing to his side, a bruised Miyako greets him. Had she been in a fight yesterday? The lady wrapped in bandages murmurs Aoi's name in her sleep, accompanied by a few peculiar moaning sounds. That makes the owner of the name beet red. Yup, he should definitely go and eat lunch now. Aoi finds some money for lunch on the table. It can't be helped since his mom is extremely busy. Knowing many people will likely be outside, he resorts to asking Miyako to go to the convenience store. However, witnessing Miyako giggling his name in her sleep prompts Aoi to reconsider. If the neighbors caught sight of her in that state, it could cause trouble. Thus, before leaving, he gently lays her down on the futon, covering her torn clothes with a blanket. As he walks along the city streets, he tries to reassure himself that everything is normal, everyone around is human. Yet, even with that thought, he finds little solace. When he notices fellow students from his school entering the convenience store, he retreats into a narrow alley. He had forgotten that students had returned from school at this time, but luckily, they were not from his class. Ugh, why does it have to be like this? None of this is Aoi's fault, yet he's forced to keep hiding. There's no other choice. He'll need to find a different store. But the monsters lurking in the dark confines of the narrow alley won't release their grip on him. Four ghastly women, their eyes hollow, beckon him to gaze at them. And once he does, they insist he continues looking. Trembling in fear, Aoi staggers backward. If this continues, it spells certain doom for him. Tears stream down his face as he desperately calls out for Miyako to rescue him. A woman responds to his plea, placing her floppy hat on his head. She gently asks him to shut his eyes while she quietly takes care of the trash. After a brief pause, the woman instructs Aoi to open his eyes. Leaning in to meet his gaze, she expresses how long it's been since she last saw his lovely face. The sound of Aoi saying her name fills her with joy, prompting her to lift the boy off the ground in excitement. When he requests to be set down, her laughter transforms into muffled sobs. The years without seeing him felt like an eternity, akin to enduring hell. She embraces him tightly, overwhelmed by how much she has missed him. Back at home, Miyako awakens, sensing a threat to her place beside her beloved.